All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon on this beautiful summer day where we'll be chatting about building community and brand partnerships that last. I'm super excited to have Hikerkind here with us, Sabrina. But before I introduce Sabrina and Caitlin, we're just going to wait a couple minutes so we make sure that everyone jumps on, gets a chance to, get on the call, get situated, etc. So yeah, just FYI, I'll be talking for like about 5 minutes to, all important introductory things first, and then we'll begin. So to kick us off, if everyone on the call could actually use the chat function and drop in 3 things in the chat, please. So the first is your social media handle. So whatever channel you use the most, please drop that in. Where you are currently going for a hike, naturally, because we're talking to Hikerkind and a hiker, Caitlin. And actually, if Sabrina and Caitlin, you guys could also drop your stuff in the chat too, that would be awesome. And then third, the best hiking or travel location you've been to date. So once again, social handle, next hiking or travel trip, and then best hiking or travel location that you recommend. So I know that's kind of like a lot, but we want to know, who's in the audience, what people are interested in, and all that good stuff. So while we're waiting on everyone's answers, I want to remind everyone that this is a live event. So it is meant to be a conversation. So we want to make sure that everyone involved is a part of the conversation. So if you have a question or even a comment, please drop it in the chat. And if they're relevant to the conversation we're having, we will highlight and address it right away. So we will also have a chance at the very end for questions. But I do recommend if you have a question to drop it in the chat immediately as you think of it. And then we will once again pull it up as you mentioned it. Okay. So let's see. We have Rodney from the Ventura Botanical Garden. Have you guys been there before? Oh, sorry, you guys are on mute.
I haven't. Sounds beautiful.
Right?
Yeah. Really cool. I haven't been.
Definitely. I resonate with that, Rodney. Puerto Rico for sure. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Yosemite, of course. That's Sabrina. What did you like about Yosemite?
Oh, Yosemite is just so beautiful. The views are unreal. It's like you're looking at a screensaver.
I love that. Oh, that's like the trend. Have you seen that trend where they're like, oh, like this is your, like when you think it's a screensaver and you're like, it's your actual background?
Oh, that's so clever.
Yeah. Okay, Caitlin's favorite is any national park. Okay. Washington, I'm assuming that's
I feel like you can't pick one. You have to, base it on the time of the year.
Right, yeah. Awesome. Outside vibes. We got best destination is Alberta, Canada. Ooh, never been. Tell us more about that in the comments. And then we have Gabriella, Arizona. Okay, forgot the middle request. Okay, so yes, so slowly everyone is kind of adding on and all that stuff. So originally I was gonna say that we weren't gonna be expecting Caitlin, but love that Caitlin's on. She is in the middle of a brand shoot, so she will only be able to be with us for about half an hour before she has to jump off. So not a worry at all. So let's see. All right, so let me go ahead and actually just quickly introduce myself really quick, and then I'll introduce Sabrina and then Caitlin as well. So as y'all may or may not know, I'm Elaine Rao, and I help develop the creators on RockPorch to help them, basically you guys either start, grow, or scale your creator income. Prior to RockPorch, I've actually worked with over 1,000 brands on numerous partnerships as I was a full-time content creator for 7 years. I also created online courses specifically on how to effectively work with brands. And about 1.5 years ago, transitioned to managing the creator development team on RockPorch to help develop our community to not only make money together, but also memories together with our community development efforts and in-person events. So we definitely want to highlight and talk about in-person events and how that is transformative, or what you guys have seen, Sabrina and Caitlin, in your time as well. So Sabrina serves as a community and partnerships manager at Hikerkind and plays a key role in growing their community initiatives. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background and kind of how you got involved with Hikerkind?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started with Hikerkind a few years ago. I actually was a hike club ambassador to begin with myself. I reached out to the founders. Hikerkind is a small business, so a small team on the founders and then a couple more people contractor side who help out. But I reached out and started just leading hikes in my area. The brand is based in New York, so growing the base on the West Coast was a super key thing that we started. And then after that, people were really interested in Hike Club. So I started leading the whole community and expanding our chapters across the United States. And now we have 20 chapters sprinkled all over the country.
Very interesting. So you started as a brand ambassador as well for Hikerkind. Very interesting. Okay, so Caitlin actually introduced Hikerkind to RockPorch as a brand to onboard onto our platform. So Caitlin, tell us a little bit about how you became a brand ambassador for Hikerkind and that whole process.
Yeah, so I think one day, I don't remember if it was an email or a DM from Hikerkind, just asking if this was, something I'd be interested in doing this summer. And I was totally about it because I've been trying to do some more community-focused events in my area just because I love meeting people and helping people get outside and having it be through a program. I was like, this is great for me. Then I have other people to help organize it and it like makes it a lot easier on my end. So I was all for it, and I love their message and like what they stand for. So I was like, yeah, let's do this.
Okay, so for the people who don't know Hikerkind, can you guys kind of talk a little bit more about what that brand initiative is in terms of getting people outside?
Of course. Yeah, Hikerkind is a women's outdoor brand and community. So they create outdoor apparel specifically designed for women to seamlessly transition into their wardrobe. So we like to always coin the term like trail to town. So we want you to feel really confident on the trail in the hiking gear that you have, but also be able to transition that into daily wear. So it's not just something sitting in your closet for 350 days a year and only coming out when you go outside.
Love that. And sorry, totally. Caitlin, I wanted you to also introduce yourself too and talk about your creator journey and how you kind of got involved with the outdoors.
Yeah, okay, so I have a non-traditional entry into the creator field. I studied mechanical engineering in undergrad, and I was working in aerospace engineering for the like 4 years out of college while doing content on the side, and I got laid off from that job. And then I was like, I think this is my time to try and do this full time. So the past year I've been doing content full time, and it's been so fun. I get to do random things like going and helping plumbers create content today. Like, I don't know, it's very random side quest, but yeah, I kind of have just been learning a lot about running a business and getting to meet a lot of really cool people.
That's so awesome, Caitlin. I also want to add on, I think I totally missed the second question, the Hike Club initiative. And Caitlin already touched on it wonderfully with saying how, bringing people together outside is just a really important mission to all of us, all of the Hike Club ambassadors, as well as everyone on the brand side at Hikerkind. I think it's definitely like one of those programs that we really hold close to the business. And, it just feels like a natural extension of the brand values. So the Hike Club initiative is basically to connect with other people outdoors, like-minded women, and other folks who align with the mission, and really just like carve out a space in the outdoor industry for women specifically. And this kind of idea was born out of the fact that a lot of the outdoor industry was like molded around a man's experience, and it being like shrink it and pink it for women. That's kind of like the term in the women's sphere of outdoor world. And so Hikerkind is really started based off of the fact that we're creating intentionally for women and by women so that it speaks to our experience rather than just a smaller size of the generic clothes and gear.
Yeah, and I read that the founders are also they're from New York City. They're from the fashion world, right? And so they design their things with intentionality, or their garments, in addition to obviously the events, right? That you
Mhm.
are designing within the company. So
Absolutely.
can you
Yeah.
tell us about both of y'all's first hike experience?
Yeah. Why don't you start, Caitlin? Yours was more recent than mine.
My
You mean with
first
the
like
brand
group
or
hike
just like
experience.
in general?
Oh, sorry, your first hiker kind like community gathering experience, not your first ever hike.
Yeah. Oh, so I did just have mine recently. We hosted a hike in Seattle and it was so much fun. It was actually raining that day, so I was like, oh my gosh, no one's gonna show up. But we had a big group of gals. It was really cool. A lot of people had just moved to the area. There was a group of gals who actually went to like the Portland one like a week before, and then they were like, oh, like let's be friends. And then they went to the next one in Seattle. So I was like, that is so cool. And then afterwards, we went and got some lunch afterwards. So it was just like such a good day. And it was just so fun to like connect a bunch of people together.
So fun. I love how they still showed up despite the rain.
That's Seattle, though. Seattle, y'all don't play
Yeah.
out there.
You guys
Yeah.
are
Everyone's down to do it. But it's
different
different.
story in California for sure. My first hike with Hikerkind, we were in Newport Beach, California. I was extremely nervous. I had never led a group of people outdoors. I grew up doing all the summer camp counselor thing, and so I had a lot of experience kind of rallying a group, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is totally different. Working with a legitimate business, like trying to emanate their brand values. So I was just like, yeah, a little nervous. But once everybody started showing up, it just felt so natural to connect with the community. And I think that Hikerkind has a really great way of attracting, a specific, like, just very friendly and welcoming type of person, which I think is just awesome. It just really reflects how these values that we're trying to spread into the community, like they're already existing out there. It's just a matter of finding your people. And yeah, so the hike was great. It actually was raining prior to the day of our hike. So a lot of trails in California close because actually they flood since we don't get much rain. So I actually ended up choosing a slightly paved trail, which didn't feel so much like a hike. But from that hike, I have had like a cohort of members who keep coming back month after month. And that has been a really great extension of showing how people just become loyal to that brand experience and liking those experiences.
Awesome. So how do you get selected as a hike leader or like host events in your city? Is there like an application or criteria? Also, this is like a three-part question. Also, is it a paid thing? And how has these events translated to maybe creating content with other content creators, and landing maybe even more paid brand deals?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for the first part of your question, sorry, could you repeat the first part?
Yeah. So, how do you get selected as a hike leader? Let's start with
Okay,
it.
let me address that one first. So, how we got our ambassadors for this season was we actually sent out kind of a feedback survey at the end of last season. We had 5 chapters last year, and at the end of it, we were really stoked on um, how receptive the new communities were to Hikerkind Hike Club. So we were like, okay, like we're open to trying out more cities and expanding even further. So with the feedback survey at the end, we asked like, would you want to start a hike club chapter in your city? And so from that's where we got a lot of people expressing interest. And so I was just following up with them, kind of learning about their story and meeting a lot of great folks like Caitlin, who, I love your background in engineering, and I thought that was super cool how you like transitioned into the content creation world. So just like connecting with people and hearing like what are their motivations for getting involved with the brand. And then second part of the question, what was it?
Yeah, the second part, what is it, like a paid thing or yeah, and yeah,
Yeah. So with the compensation model, we have a commission-based role as a Hike Club ambassador. So when everybody's onboarded into the program, they get affiliate links through platforms like RockPorch, so that they're able to share their content on Instagram, and if they have a website, and really anywhere they're active online, so that anytime they're talking about Hikerkind organically, or somebody finds their page through the web, then they can like share their link and automatically get a commission based off of orders.
Okay, just so only if they purchase something from Hikerkind, not necessarily an experience or a hike from Hikerkind, because those are all free, right?
So yes, our hike clubs are free. So a big part of that is we want to encourage accessibility and kind of like break down that barrier to entry. So the events themselves are free to sign up. So once somebody comes into that sphere, they're kind of they're welcomed into the brand world. So then they start to learn about the apparel that Hikerkind offers. And through that, our Hikerkind ambassadors are also outfitted in full kits for their hikes, so that they can talk about the gear while they're out there with the community and kind of be like, this is what I like about it. And, like just kind of like start those conversations, like, what are you looking for in your gear? That enables Hikerkind to continue product development with our customer in mind.
Got it. So as a leader, you're gifted a Hikerkind set to then be able to talk about on your hosted trip. And then the sales that you make via your RockPorch affiliate links, thanks to Caitlin looking us up with Hikerkind, then you get a commission from. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So Caitlin, with like, going on these hikes and different stuff like that, how has that helped maybe your content creation journey, and maybe, yeah, either A, connecting with other creators, or B, maybe landing even more brand deals or opportunities with these group hikes?
Was that, you keep coming in and out for me over here, Elaine? Was that question for me?
Yes. It's
Okay.
once again, it's a question.
Okay. So that was the first part. Like, can you ask it again? You cut out.
Yeah. So how has being in person with these with other creators helped you as a content creator, in either in friendships and or paid, like landing other paid brand deals?
Yeah, so I think being with other creators is like one of the best parts of like being a content creator. I mean, not like specifically to even these events, but like just in general, it's how I've learned so much, how to like work with brands and what I should be asking for, and like basically how to be a creator. I learned from other creators and just having conversations with them. And so at these events, it's like really fun to be able to talk to other people that are like, I think a lot of the people that come are interested in doing content creation themselves. They want to talk about photography, they want to talk about all these things, and I love talking about it. So it's just a space to like, I feel like after I'm done hanging out with people, I feel even more inspired to go and do like what I love doing.
Okay. What's something that you learned from like your most recent hike what's like a takeaway that you could share?
I think like with the most recent hike, um, I think like group management is something that's all I'm always learning and like and trying to improve on. We had like a few gals where we met was like kind of confusing. There was a bunch of different parking lots. And so some people like got lost and like didn't make it to the hike. So it's just like taking that information and being like, oh, like how can I be more clear with how I'm describing where people to meet, and like how can I for my next hike go and make sure that everyone's getting the information they need to like come to the hike.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. So because you want to host more hikes, so how to structure that and continue moving forward with better community building skills.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I also wanted to add that it's been awesome to see how the Hike Club Ambassador journey has also inspired more programs and content opportunities for the Hikerkind audience and our ideal customers. So through I think Hike Club's inspiration, the founder also started a initiative to have an athlete program. So we also partner with athletes who are going out on through hikes. So that is like a longer hike, sometimes hundreds of miles. And as an athlete, they're also kitted in Hikerkind. And I think that's another great way to see how these kinds of experiences as a creator can open up more opportunities. Like maybe there's something that you've always been wanting to do, like a really multi-month long backpacking trip, right? But there's also opportunities for you to get paid while doing that. So I think that's really cool how you can share, your gear lists and everything like that, and earn this passive income through platforms like RockPorch.
Yeah, well, speaking of passive income, I love I'm going to highlight this note that Martha, our marketing director, naturally shared. So when you guys are on these hikes, right? I mean, an additional link to share could be your RockPorch referral link because you make 2.5% of, so let's say you sign somebody up from the hike. A year later, whatever they make, you make 2.5% of that creator's income. So that's not taking away from the creator itself. But yeah, as you're sharing your Hikerkind RockPorch referral links, you can also share your RockPorch creator referral link in conjunction with that. So that's a great, once again, passive income generator. So thank you, Martha, for highlighting that. Another great question. I'm going to highlight this one. What does Hikerkind look for when you're looking for good fit creators?
Yeah, great question. Honestly, when Hikerkind is looking for a creator that's a good fit, we're looking for someone who's like more than, I think there's a misconception that it's like, oh, the more followers I have, the more brand deals I'll get. But really what we're looking for is alignment with the brand. And those kinds of things like caring about community and intentional living, intentional dressing, and kind of like honestly living those things in your content and sharing those kinds of brands already. I think that a big part of what we're looking for is people who are showing up, people who are building relationships on the platform with their audience so that it doesn't feel transactional. So really like a big word that we're kind of like stuck on all the time is like authenticity. So like what is your motivation for being there? And like, what is your storytelling skill level? So honestly, I think with content creation, it's more about like just continuing to practice, even if you think like nobody's watching your content or you're worried about like stats and numbers. I would say just keep refining your storytelling and just being creative with the way that you present information.
Okay, so let's segue off of storytelling, right? Because storytelling versus metrics, it's like what I guess defines here, I'm gonna hide this one. But what makes storytelling good, metrically speaking?
Yeah, that's a great question too. I think that what makes storytelling good is really like there are like measurable things that we see perform better. So like having a really good hook, and that could be a visual hook, an audio hook. So like anchoring the story with something that serves your audience as well as something that was an experience for you. So I think that a lot of people are more so looking for seeing themselves in your content rather than exclusively hearing about your experience. I think it's great to add a relatability element to your storytelling.
Yeah, okay, Caitlin, is there a piece of content that has really like stood out or that you've made for a brand that really crushed? And kind of what was your thought process and storytelling behind that?
Yeah, I think any kind of content, I think that any kind of like, kind of what Sabrina's saying, I think content that like puts the person like person first content. So it's like kind of self-centered. Like content is what people really enjoy seeing. I also have like had one of my like favorite things to make that has done well for some tourism boards and stuff is basically like photo carousels that show off like a bunch of things to do. I think that like sometimes when you like try something new or try something on socials that like is your own art, it can be a gamble because it's like not something that you're seeing trending or something, but then something that's like new that people don't see, they're like, oh, this is really cool, like I like this. So it's like taking time to just like create like what you like and how you want to tell a story, kind of going back to like authenticity that we were talking about. Um, those always do really well for me, and yeah, that's kind of what I lean into.
Awesome. So going back to the brand side, so what would make you, so obviously there's different types of campaigns, right? Obviously there's, UGC, there's pay, there's affiliate, all the different things. What would make you pay a creator versus offer them a gifting in exchange versus perhaps an affiliate? Are there certain metrics that you look for and or keywords you look for in their media kit that stands out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the difference between, a gifted or affiliate creator and a paid creator is really comes down to like, why us? Why do you want to create content for the brand? Are you already operating in the same space? Are you having success with your audience? Because when it comes to like the business side of things, obviously that is when metrics start to matter, and kind of like, are you able to make sales with your audience, having those like links and like tracking metrics to back up those um, that conversion information.
Yeah, I love that. Um, and yeah, Caitlin, what would you say is something like a pitch that you pitched that just landed, it just hit?
Can you say it one more time?
Can you tell us about a pitch that you landed like super well, and it was just like it just hit home run?
Home run. I think, oh my gosh, now I'm like blanking on what I've been working on recently. Um, I did a pitch. Oh my gosh, I literally can't think of anything.
I really like that amusement
Um,
park that you went to recently, Caitlin.
Oh, thank you. I recently went home to Pennsylvania and I was trying to like line something up so that it'd be a business trip. And so I reached out to an amusement park and that was just for trade. I got to go to an amusement park for the day and it was a lot of fun to like be there with my siblings and stuff. But I think like I guess my most recent brand deal that went well was I was in Bend and I got to do some photo work there. And that pitch was like pretty seamless. I reached out and said what I was going to be doing, who I was working with, and then hopped on a call with them and like pretty much signed up and then went and got to create. And it was a lot of fun because it was kind of, I got to choose what I wanted to create and delivered the pictures and they loved them. So that's always a good thing.
Yeah, and I love that once again that's tying into the community. Once again, it's bringing the online pitch to the offline community, and then seamlessly it's like a
Yeah.
cyclical cycle in a sense, right? Would you say there's
Yeah.
a common
And I feel like
oh,
a
go
common
ahead.
mistake. Well, I was going to touch on community. I feel like the more I go out and meet people in the creative world, the more like jobs and fun things I get to do. Like today, I got this gig from another creator who was like, "Hey, I can't do this, but like, could you go do it?" And those kind of things are always great when you get to like, your network is like looking out for you and you're looking out for them. And like, I think you just like need to give a lot in this field before you start like seeing more stuff on your end.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, so going to more like common mistakes. Is there anything that you guys have seen, or Sabrina, you've seen with outreach that you're like, this is something that you would like creators to know?
Oh yeah, for sure. I would say that like I think the content creation space has gotten to be like a very, desirable way of making income. And so, I think that there's a lot of helpful resources out there online. But one thing that I would avoid when reaching out to brands is to basically have like a template that you're sending and not at all try to personalize it. Because I think like the more personalized it can be, for like what you're thinking of contributing in the partnership or collaboration, the more likely you'll get a response and an opportunity from that. Um, what what really doesn't work is just kind of being like, hey, I love your brand and I want to work with you, because then there's no action steps that we can take from there, because um, we're obviously grateful to have a strong community, but really like the people who uh, go a longer way is those who tell us exactly what they want to do with us, so we can move forward.
Okay, so what would be like a great pitch for we have a question from Martha actually. Can you tell us how you translate an in-person event to an affiliate income?
Yeah, absolutely. With in-person events, I think that um, it's really important to let people know, like, here's why we're here. This is like kind of the brand that's behind this whole experience, and translating that to income on your affiliate side of things is really about showing up and engaging with people. Having a QR code on your phone, so that you could be like, hey, you really like my shirt, like, if you want to check it out, here's a QR code, or here's my link. I'll send it in our group chat or a personal chat, wherever it might be. And then also being timely with after your event, once everybody's kind of following each other and engaging, that's really when you want to post a follow-up like, thanks everyone for coming. Again, here's my link if anyone wants to check it out. That way you're able to capture that interest and translate it into affiliate income.
I love that you mentioned a QR code. That is actually a new feature that we added to RockPorch. I don't know if you checked it out, Caitlin, but everything that you share, every link that you share has a QR code now. So that is a great suggestion.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll need to add that. And also, like, besides like just Hikerkind stuff, like at the last meeting, the last hike that we did, people were asking me for like affiliate links for other things too, like camera gear, or there's other things like they're interested in learning about. So it's not just like one thing that you can ask. Like, people are going to be like asking you a bunch of questions for different stuff.
awesome. So besides, I guess, like hikes and different stuff like that, I know
Um,
that. Oh, go ahead, Caitlin. Do you have to jump?
I was going to say I have to jump off, but thank you so much for having me. And if anybody has any questions or anything, they're like more than welcome to send me a DM on Instagram. It's been so fun to be a part of Hikerkind. Super excited that they had me this summer. And I will see you guys around.
Okay,
Hi,
thanks,
Caitlin.
Caitlin. Yeah, so going back to, I guess, yeah, I mean, obviously, Caitlin is a great brand ambassador for you guys, right? As well as, obviously, it's kind of like a triad, right? Like, Caitlin shares about Hikerkind through RockPorch and then vice versa.
Mhm.
How is maybe your brand ambassador program different or similar to your in-person events? How do you kind of work around that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the being a brand ambassador and on the content side of things is only strengthened when we add in-person events into the mix, because really connecting with the community and having those in-person touch points, having a face to the name, just creates a stronger trust between you and the community, and really allows our ambassadors to show the community that like they're showing up, it's more than just a side hustle for them or a place to generate income. It's actually about helping people feel more confident outside in their gear and all of the things that we stand for.
Yeah. Are there other things that you guys like? What have you guys found the most effective that marry, those things together? Income, creator content, and brand.
In terms, are you speaking in terms of like, I don't know. Could you clarify the question a little?
Yeah. So, well, I guess, do you ever co-create content with your creators as you guys are, on at events and stuff like that? Or is it more, yeah, like what's the process there?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I get it now. So with the in-person events, when everybody's onboarded as a hike club ambassador, we make sure that they are prepared for kind of like our special way of running events. So we prepare them with basically like a playbook of like, this is what an event would look like. So, giving them the tools to properly introduce the brand, properly introduce themselves and their relationship with the brand, so that they feel like confident, representatives of Hikerkind. And then basically like having basically examples for what makes a successful event. So, encouraging them to really like play into those tropes of being a good host, like, making sure you make your rounds around the hike, not just staying up at the front. And so like truly connecting with each person. And when it comes to content creation, we kind of allow them to create freely in terms of like how much they're capturing, what they're capturing, but we do give a few vague outlines of like maybe get some nature shots, get a group shot, make sure you take a group picture where everybody's like prepared for it, but also like taking advantage of those candid moments, like does the group look really great with the view, like maybe hang back a little bit and be like, I'm gonna take a picture but you guys go ahead and taking videos, so that we can pass those along to our social media side of things and create amazing recap content and more marketing promotions around this program.
Yeah, love that. What can creators do to like really stand out? So obviously there's parameters in place, and generally if you follow it, obviously you do a good job. But what makes that the 1% that you're like, I noticed that person?
Absolutely, yeah. Honestly, it is just showing up more, because obviously there is the content that they create just through being involved with the program. So like, those beautiful nature shots from their most recent hike. But really what makes them stand out is, are they doing content outside of their events to promote Hikerkind? And that kind of opens the door for more paid engagements, because we see like, oh, wow, like their content is really performing. They're really showing up. We can repost it, and kind of have this like cross-channel lift, all from this one person who took the initiative to create that content, sometimes without even being asked. So like their only responsibility is really to engage with their communities and capture these experiences, but really taking it a step beyond is showing up outside of those parameters.
Yeah, I love that. So for your guys' like campaigns and stuff, is there a certain specific time of year that you guys ramp up for campaigns and are looking for creators? What's the cycle kind of look like for you guys?
Yeah, the cycle honestly is it's pretty new and evolving at the moment. Hikerkind started in 2021, so it's a pretty young brand. So in terms of like creator engagements, really the last 2 years have been an evolution of like what that looks like, and also learning what working with creators looks like in terms of like what makes a successful partnership. So we basically collected a lot of interested creators in the fall of last year when we sent out our survey about hike club interest. And then so that was like the ramp up period, and then we onboarded in April. So it's kind of like, I would say quarterly we're looking for those new engagements and collaborations to start to blossom.
Yeah, love that. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Yeah, especially with seasonal clothing and options to change out your links and share different things. That's awesome.
Yeah, I would say that our next like kind of round where we're going to be engaging with more creators is around the time of our fall winter drop, which is coming in late August, September time.
Yeah. How involved are creators with your design element of what because obviously you're just doing a lot of surveys and asking the creator what community what they want. Yeah, in terms of the design element.
Yeah, they're a huge part of the design element. I mean, from the Hike Club ambassadors to the Hikerkind athletes, we get a ton of feedback about what they're liking about the gear. So more than just like a gifted set of products, we're also in communication with them. Like, hey, do you actually like how that feels on trail? How is it holding up in terms of breathability, color? After you washed it, did it look good? Did something go wrong? Did fabric get snagged? So they're a huge part of like basically like helping us keep to a really high standard of quality because Hikerkind gear is meant to last on the trail for multiple months, wearing it every single day. So these factors are super important in terms of design. And we've actually the sun hoodie that is on the site now, it has SPF protection, and we had a sun trail shirt that's also a button up in the original collection. And the sun hoodie actually came from our hike club ambassadors. They were like, I would love a hoodie option. And so, after a lot of like design and manufacturing tests, it actually came to life as part of the collection.
Love that. Yeah, I mean, you're listening to the community, you're definitely engaged with them, right? I'm curious as to your different sectors, or your athletes versus your hikers. What's the difference that that guys have in terms of building community? Because obviously they're not going on hikes, so hikers are going on hikes. What are the athletes doing to build in-person community?
Yeah, the athletes, it's actually funny. There's a lot of crossover. So our athletes have different start dates for their trips naturally. So some of them who haven't started their through hikes yet, they actually have attended hike club events. And I was just talking with one of our athletes this morning as she's planning a multi-day trip with some women that she met at hike club last month. So she, in terms of like building community though, our athletes are much more on the content side. So they're getting, a lot more opportunities to create content for like specific briefs and specific asks so that we can bridge that connection between them maybe being very solo and isolated on a trail for a few months and still being connected to like the outside world. So like it's different in terms of community because they're kind of on a much more independent journey, but showing up online. And then our hike club ambassadors are much more ingrained in like daily life and community because they're only going on day hikes. So I would say it's a difference in kind of just like that short period of lifestyle.
Got it. And in terms of, I guess, content type too, right? So when your hikers are on trail, obviously, are they creating content live in person, and then sharing their links and all that stuff? I mean, is there Wi-Fi out there, or like how does that kind of the whole process of like in-person activations look like?
Yeah. So in-person activations and kind of like timing of everything, our ambassadors are capturing the content and they're actually not uploading anything until after the event is over. So we don't want them to be worried about like the aesthetic of their Instagram stories or whatever it may be when they're actually there in the community. We just ask that they take like shots, like I mentioned before, with like our general shot list recommendations. And then everything else is handled on the brand side. So reposting from attendees, reposting once our hike club ambassadors get home and decompress, they start posting themselves, like the content that they captured, and then they share it with the team also. So it's definitely a collaborative effort to get the content out there and do a lot of like reposting so that we're making sure that we're capturing the whole experience.
Got it. Love that. Yeah. I want to make sure that we have questions. Oh, here is another question. Did we highlight this already? How can you translate in-person events to affiliate income?
Yeah, we touched on that one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, any questions, please feel free to drop them in. Because yeah, we have about 10 minutes left. I want to make sure that any questions are answered. Is there something that maybe I didn't ask that might be interesting to the community that you want to highlight?
Yeah, I mean, I think that with creator work, I think that it's really important to, you know, I think that we see with consuming content is a lot different than creating content, right? And I think that it's really important and helpful to set a schedule for yourself because that will help you kind of take the pressure off of maybe like, oh, I don't know what to post today. So if I can offer at least one helpful tip to the creators out there, it would just be to figure out a schedule that works for you. The same system that works for one person might not work for another. So just find what's sustainable for you. And that kind of helps enable you to share things that you care about.
Yeah, I love that piece of advice. Yeah, I think another thing that we like to recommend our creators do is also batching content. So when you're on a trip, right, you're shooting content for one specific brand, but you can repurpose little clips here and there for something else. And so yeah, we'll be bringing a bunch of creators to Wisconsin actually next week, and so people will be seeing RockPorch stuff kind of like scattered throughout all from like Wisconsin, but you may not know it's from Wisconsin because it's repurposed. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's a great tip. I mean, shooting B-roll just like of yourself, I guess just depends like what type of content is your focus, but like having those like reusable clips is very helpful for maybe you don't have something to post that next week, but you do have something to talk about. So
yeah. Another question: has Hikerkind found any specific types of content or strategies that work really well with creators using their affiliate links to promote your brand specifically?
yeah, I think like it's funny, like I'm absolutely like, oh, I don't want to do any of the cliches. I love the super creative stuff, the stuff you haven't seen before. But there are a lot of tried and true content styles that just work. Like fit checks and OOTDs and what I'm packing in my bag. Those types of content, I know we've all seen them. And they can feel a little bit repetitive, but I will say that when you make it your own and you really weave your own story into it and your perspectives, it makes it stand out. And those types of content or that strategy, that type of video, it really hits home with a lot of people.
Would you say that also translates in terms of conversions as well? Like the highest converting ones will be like the fit checks, OOTDs, etc.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I could think of an example just recently. One of our athletes was she's not on her trip yet, but she's still kind of like in work mode. So staying true to that trail to town mentality, she was wearing her windbreaker to work one day, and she did a reel where she was, day in the life of an art director, where she kind of just like filmed little moments from her day and did like fit check style videos throughout all the different points that she was going to work, to the coffee shop, to, what is it called? I can't remember what it was called, but just like different errands that she was running. And then she ends her day with going to drinks with her friends and sticking with that like format of like, this is what I'm wearing. This is how I tweaked it for this experience. And that content actually did so well that we used it on paid ads as well. So converting it and using it across channels helps that creator generate more income and also just boost their affiliate links on their personal platforms.
Yeah, so almost more like a vlog style, like a day in the life, or something, yeah, more less, I guess, curated, so to speak, even though it is curated. But it's, yeah, the good storytelling of just a day in the life.
Yeah, just like very authentic and like showing the hiccups also that happen in your day.
Bloopers.
Yeah, people love the bloopers. People love the imperfections. So I think don't be afraid to let those things have their moment.
Have you seen, I don't know if you guys track this on your back end, but have you guys seen more conversions with story links versus like, DM links versus blog? Like, are there different platforms or channels that you've seen that have performed better?
Yeah, I think that, on the stories is really the easiest place for people to click through because oftentimes, my assumption just from like social media usage is that like when you're on viewing people's stories, you're kind of at home, you're relaxing, and you have that time to maybe like online shop a little bit. So if you're seeing a creator's content that you really love post on their story, like that's a more immediate way to get those people to click on your link rather than maybe traveling to your page, going into the link in your bio, which people who are really dedicated will do. But stories are definitely the best.
Yeah. How do you guys recommend your creators garner more clicks? Like, do you guys, what's like some strategies around getting the click?
Yeah. I would say just consistency with the posts. So having that supplementary content and then having your link available. So like maybe once a week posting like, hey, I'm doing this and here's my links for that. And kind of like organically weaving it into your content. So, you're not going to be doing the same thing every single week. We're not going to maybe we're not going on trail every single weekend, but there are ways that we can kind of like every Sunday I'll post a link to like my favorites from this past week and making sure that if that's something that you want to be promoting, that it's on that list.
Love that. Okay, so there's also going back to what you were talking about in terms of like the setting people up to know like almost your structure, right? Like your calendar of things to do, outfit of the day, that what you're gonna get, and on Tuesdays, you're gonna get a certain type of content, so on and so forth. What I like to tell our creators is by changing the link name, you can get a little bit more clicks by, let's just say, instead of saying click my link, you're just saying something like, guess what I'm wearing today, or get like, do you recommend red or blue for me, and having a poll. So it's not, the link isn't just a flat link, but it's an engagement boosting type of link that people will actually want to click on to get an answer to the question on the link.
That's a great tip.
Yeah. Let's see, we got about 3 minutes left. Make sure to drop your questions. But yeah, I guess just like as an overall thing. Great question for Ronnie. Let's see. Do you find it's best to link the same product for a certain time period, staying focused on hats all of July, or is it best to diversify your links? Good question. Thank you, Ronnie.
Yeah, good question. I would say diversifying your links is super helpful. And kind of what Elaine was saying with, changing even the link title. I think that people really like seeing different things and feeling like the content that you're serving up is new and exciting. So making sure that even if you are focusing on hats for all of July, then kind of just like having it formatted in different ways so that people don't get tired and feel like the content has gone stale.
Yeah. I want to know, what is the last thing you bought off of IG links?
Oh my gosh. That's a hard question. I would say there's this creator that I really love. And she's got me on all her platforms. I'm on her Patreon. I'm on like everything.
Who is this? We need to know.
She is this really awesome creator, has a crazy story, was on The Bachelor. Her name is Becca. And she's like a lifestyle creator, but her partner also owns a rock climbing gym. So super outdoorsy and always like taking trips and doing all these things. So she's always posting affiliate links on her stories. And she actually had a like electrolyte supplement, and it was like, I didn't know you could sell an electrolyte supplement that well until I saw her story.
What was it specifically? Like, how did she sell you?
She was just saying how it was different from other electrolyte supplements because of its natural ingredients, and how like a lot of, she was like differentiating the product really well, and pointing out the things that she likes about it. So it had like some sort of special salt and some sort of special like vitamins and nutrients that a lot of other products kind of skim over in terms of like other electrolyte supplements. I'm not an expert by any means, by the way, on electrolytes, but she was like saying like some of the other ones are just filled with sugar, and so I think she did a really great job like using those sales tactics of differentiating but keeping it super positive and just like showing up consistently, like, oh, by the way, I'm still using this, it's so great and it's helping me stay hydrated.
Yeah, love that. And have you liked the product since you've gotten it?
We're waiting for it to arrive.
Oh, very recent. I love that. You're like, I clicked it yesterday. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Sabrina. We are out of time, but this was amazing. Such incredible information. Thank you for spending an hour with us, and just, telling us all about the community that you've built, within Hikerkind. And I mean, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And our next webinar will be next month, so stay tuned in the email for that. If any questions for Sabrina, you can just check them out on Hikerkind.
Yeah, I will drop my also my personal Instagram into here if anyone wants to like personally DM me with questions about affiliate information or like content creation. I, like Caitlin, I love talking about it. So yeah, I'd love to stay connected with everyone.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, and Caitlin. All right, until next time. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Elaine.
Thank you.